What's up, everybody? Welcome to GuildCast, episode 25 for May 29, 2012. You're watching Gamebreaker. I'm Gary Gannon, and today it's almost time to play some Guild Wars 2 again. Our dungeon's gonna have PvP and an interview with Eric Flanham. All that plus, guess what? We've got beta keys to give away, so stick around on today's GuildCast. Hello, 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 everybody. Hello. Oh, look at the background. It's beautiful, isn't it? Windows.
It's gorgeous.
Hello, background of Windows not working. What happened here? Can you work that out? So what's up, everybody? Welcome to GuildCast. I'm Gary Gannon, and of course, joining me for some crap today is the one, the only Mr. Scott Hawks.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to our crap.
We have lots of crap to sling today.
Yes. You'll just love our crap. It's marvelous.
You got a little buzz cut there.
Yes. It's a summer. It's a summer.
That was the lightsaber?
I need to sleep. Yes.
No lightsaber. No lightsaber talk on this show. No lightsaber talking on this show, Missy.
Right, that's in an hour.
That is in an hour. That is today. That is. And the one, the only from Massively.com. It's Elizabeth Clare. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Ready to talk some Guild Wars. It's Tuesday.
Absolutely.
And from Massively, we have so much Massively. It's like half Gamebreaker, half Massively. Might as well just like team up, make one site. Massively Gamebreaker. Richard Procopio, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. We are massive indeed.
We are. We are. All right, so big news this week is that we finally actually have a date for the next Guild Wars 2 beta weekend event, Friday, June 8th, starting at noon Pacific. It's going all the way until midnight, Sunday, June 10th.
Come on.
So,
Let's have it.
It's not this weekend, Scott, in your Guardian, but I don't know. You think you can make it till the following weekend?
I'm not gonna play the Guardian this time. I promised.
I so don't believe you. I don't believe a word. He's like a child.
Yeah, we've heard that before. Fool us 3 times, shame on you.
I have publicly now vowed that I will not play the Guardian.
I think you did that before.
Weekend.
Yeah, you did that before once, Freddie. You might need to go see a therapist for this.
I kind of promised.
Apparently
but this is a real promise.
We're going to have an intervention.
Apparently, your memory is also suffering. We need an intermission in the show.
If you break your vow, then you're nothing but a warrior.
Sandwiches.
It's true, you weren't supposed to be your bond man.
So what's the plan? Everybody going to spend the weekend proving to your families that you actually love them before you disappear for 3 days?
I'm going away.
For that weekend?
Yes.
You traitor.
Oh, better borrow a laptop.
I have plans already, and it's so lame.
Be like,
Scary.
honey, it's work. I have to.
I'll have Friday night. That's about all I got. A little bit of time Friday night.
Starting to seriously doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion.
Man, I can't help it. But
Another piece of good news, though. We found out that and all the characters from the previous beta are not going to be wiped. I was actually, I'm really glad they're doing this, but I was actually a little surprised. But at least now we won't have the surge of level 1s, right? So we should be spread out a little bit. Should be go a little smoother. What level
it's
you
kind
got?
of surprising. It's kind of surprising because they said they were going to, we had information before that led us to believe that they were actually going to do a character wipe, and now for the stress test and for this, they're not. It's kind of cool. I think it'll spread things out a bit, but at the same time, it's like, are they going to test again that mass influx of people at level 1 that really simulates the launch day again? Are they going to do that again, or are they going to just keep going with this?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense. They've already talked about wanting to get people in there to do the explorable Ascalon catacombs. So keeping people's characters gives them much more of a shot at leveling up to 35 to do that. Rather than some people who cheated using their press account up to 30.
Cheater!
I'm sorry, guys.
Elizabeth. But yeah, I mean, it just makes sense for that, for the testing aspect of it, that I'm sure lot of people, including me, played a lot of characters at very low levels, and they want to get more people moving.
You played one
to-
character
through
at
more
low
capital.
levels 8 times
That's
over.
not true. It's not true. It's not.
I've seen a Guardian's Tale.
No. I've played a couple of Guardians.
Guardians Anonymous. He's starting a new group. Yeah, but no, the good news is obviously we're going to start getting to test out some of these mid-level content, and I'm sure some of the hardcores out there are going to be probably be max level by the end of the weekend, right? Somebody probably.
Well, I don't know. They might get into the 50s.
I would be very impressed if somebody did that.
I would be as well, but they're going to be close. You know, somebody's going to be close. It'd probably be Athene, the greatest engineer in the world, pawning noobs. Oh, oops! Curse just got pawned today. Sorry.
If you
Throw that in.
Had to throw it in.
max level in one weekend, then you're going to need hospitalization or something after it, because it's not that kind of blow through the levels. And also, I have to say, if you get to max level at the weekend, in one weekend, you've really missed a lot of the game. Which you can go back, of course.
But won't somebody just want to post it on their Twitter? Like some asshat's gonna just want to be able to say.
Yeah, I'm sure people are gonna try.
Ready? In before. I'm bored. There's nothing to do.
Yeah. This game only has like 12 hours of content, man.
I finished it all in 2 weekends. I'm bored.
The nice thing is that even if someone does hit max level, that's not super incredible in and of itself, because all you have to do, it's not like you're learning new things, because you can just go into PvP, structured PvP, and experience being max level, and you're still only going to have seen 1 through 30 of game content. Like, you can only play so much of the actual world. So while it would be impressive to get to max level, I think it would be silly and relatively pointless. Even if it was achievable.
It's pretty pointless.
Yeah.
The more you understand about Guild Wars 2, you just realize it's pointless.
Mm-hmm.
That whole competitive racing, that's not what the game's designed for. It's not race. It's not end game stacked in the top level way. It's got content through it. So if you go rushing off to the top level, say, "Oh look, I'm level. I'm maxed. So great."
What was
I've just got to get back and get down ranked anyway. So.
What was said earlier that Scott, that led you to believe that there was always going to be wipes in between? Was there something specific that I miss?
There were whispers.
Yes, it wasn't as much, and there was no concrete that I can remember. I don't remember any concrete. After each beta weekend, we'll be wiping your characters, but I think it was just that's what we thought would be going on with each build, but apparently not, which is cool. I mean, as I said, it makes sense if you want to get more people through the content later on to make sure it's being thoroughly tested. That's the easiest way to do it, isn't it?
So what's the plan for you guys? You guys, besides Richie, since he's got plans.
She said that with such disdain.
I just keep rubbing it in. No, but are any of you guys planning on rolling ones or for any reason, or are you going to stick with a character that you've already got?
I'm rolling 2 ones.
2 ones?
I'm telling myself I'll roll a 1.
I really want to play a warrior.
What's the reason? Why you guys don't want to see some more of the content a little bit later? You want to hold back?
No, for me, it's that I actually want to try out other professions, and I keep telling myself that I'm going to look at different professions each beta weekend. So even though, I would love to have characters that I can go and do higher level stuff with, and I still probably will, I also do want to spend time with a thief.
Athene? You want to spend time with Athene?
Thief.
Oh, thief. A thief. I heard Athene.
Thief.
I don't know why.
Thief.
So, I mean, ArenaNet's not giving us patch notes yet, obviously, but they are working on a ton of stuff. They said they were working on, I think some of the things they talked about were parties sticking together was a big one, chat functionality, key bindings, and obviously server stability and performance issues and stuff like that. Parties getting separated was probably the biggest gameplay issue of the overflow servers, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
The game is totally designed around making it easy for you to play with your friends and play together. And there's so many things that just get in and play. Doesn't matter what level you are. You can, just group up and meet up with each other very easily. And then they have these issues in the earlier betas where it was hard to actually get to your players because of the overflow server and stuff. So if they've got that worked out, that'll be a huge step in the right direction. Looking forward to that.
I mean, it did improve just even in the stress test report.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can solve that problem, I think a lot of people's gripe about the overflow server will kind of evaporate. And also, hopefully we won't have to use the overflow server quite as much because of, I mean, they said they're adding new hardware in, and they've got more of a handle now on the kind of numbers they're looking at for these beta weekends. So, but I mean, let's face it, even if you have to use overflow, if you can party with your party, doesn't really matter.
Then it'll be a party.
It'll be a party.
Elizabeth, you got something?
Nope.
Oh.
I'm really stoked. I think that their improvements will hopefully be awesome, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them making good on responding to feedback.
I mean, we talked about this in the last show as well. Like, we all, I think, noticed a lot of increase in performance in the last build that we got to play. And now you said with all the new hardware, server stability should be, it seems like a beta is working towards beta. The only sad news that we've got, I don't know when it was officially sort of tweeted, put
This
out there.
afternoon.
Still no Sylvari or Asura. I kind of thought this was going to be the one. I thought this was the one that they were going to put it in there.
I was not expecting that, no.
No?
Nope.
No.
Just
It's got to come.
seem...
It's got to come sooner or later. They got to test it.
Sooner or later might be released. I mean, maybe they're doing internal testing on that. I mean, from everything we've seen, we're not going to get a look at anything above level 30 for PvE in betas. So, assuming they're doing some sort of internal testing, because you don't just not test half your content. So maybe that's just their plan, is to give us this tiny little peek.
Well, they've been given run-throughs with the Sylvari and the Asura selected. Lucky.
Yes, they did.
Lucky people. So we know it's there. We know it's functioning.
Do we? I'm not so sure they even exist anymore.
They're like vaporware, man. They're the vapor races.
The Azure and Pi is alive. No, it's we've talked about these whispers of maybe they'll hold it back. Maybe this is something that to prevent people feeling like they've seen everything in beta. Could it be that that's actually what's going on?
It's interesting though, because what is this second weekend in June? What does that do to release date speculation? I know a lot of things reporting at the end of June, and I know no official word and stuff like that, but it's kind of looking like it's further than that. Especially if the whole Asura and Sylvari, if they are going to eventually test that in some sort of beta environment, and it's not just them holding it back just to have content held back, then might not even be seeing them to maybe a July beta weekend or something like that. This is kind of interesting.
I'm gonna blame Governor Chaffee from Rhode Island.
Oh, absolutely.
I just figure that he's probably holding them hostage or something and waiting for that's it. Blame him. I really thought this was going to be the beta test. I think it's getting close. I think we're going to see them soon. I don't know. We're getting too damn close.
Hope springs eternal.
All right. Would any of you guys, if they actually do give us a beta, when they do give us a beta test of them, are any of you guys going to completely hold off from rolling one or the other completely?
No.
Just have like one race that you just have no idea what it's like from start to finish?
I can't resist playing a Guardian. I've been waiting to play Azure, Sylvari especially. I can't wait to get my hands on Sylvari.
It'd be like
There'll be a Sylvari Guardian within 3 minutes of it going up. I have no doubt about that.
No doubt. Richie, you seem
I'm
like
going cold turkey for this one.
But Richie, you seem like you might be the player to completely hold back.
Yeah, you know what? I would probably play the Asura in a beta and probably not touch the Sylvari, because I could see myself making that a main character. And I do like that whole, I want something to be fresh right from the get-go. I've been also trying not to play too much of the human starting area. I've played a lot of the Nord, so I do definitely want it to keep some things just to be a fresh experience come launch.
Well, for any of you guys that haven't gotten into beta yet or haven't pre-purchased, we got beta keys coming up. We're going to give away, tell you how to win those a little bit later on the show, so stick around. But let me tell you about a great deal we got going on with Netflix. You guys have not checked out the Netflix service. You're missing out. You go over to netflix.com/GameBreaker TV. You can sign up for a free 30-day trial for their streaming service. It is completely kick-ass. This is let's see what Michael Schaffner's got on the list today for us. Full Metal Alchemy. He's got so much anime. What is this? What is Vampire?
Just addicted to this
Vampire Bund? Is that what that is? Oh, you don't even know what that is. He doesn't know what that is. 30 Rock. Darnell's favorite show, Weeds. If you've watched the World of Warcraft show that we have. Trigun, you love this one, don't you?
So Schaffner has to be careful, like what he watches.
Yeah.
He does. He does.
Recently viewed Easy Bad Girls with Swords.
This has 4 out of 5 stars for you.
What's Trigun all about? Schaffner. I don't have the installed here thing.
It's like Western, very
A Western with futuristic elements. Does it have the guy from Ancient Aliens in it with the crazy hair?
Oh,
Is it like Firefly?
Did you guys see?
Because
Have
if
you
it's
guys?
like Firefly, I'm all over it.
I love Firefly. They do have Firefly.
Firefly rules.
They have Firefly.
Yes, they have Firefly and
Yes, they do.
Serenity.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you guys see? Have you guys seen the pic of the guy from Ancient Aliens with the pictures, like 4 or 5 of him as he progresses, where he gets
No.
crazier and crazier? Oh my god,
Don't
I gotta
watch it.
find it. Do you know the guy I'm talking
Nope.
about? Oh my god, I gotta see if I can find it. Like right in the middle of the show. I don't even care.
People
Ancient
make fun of me for being addicted to
Aliens
Guardians. You're on
guy.
about Ancient Aliens every week.
Wait,
Sweet
this,
Lord.
this,
Addict.
this is so worth the wait if I can find this guy. Oh my god. Oh, they not have the 4 side by side. You know this guy, but there's a great here. Let me show you this guy.
Unless it's the aliens dude. I have
Yeah, I know the alien. The alien.
Yeah,
with the hand.
this
That's
you
the
know
only
this
thing I
guy.
know.
Oh, him.
Everybody
Yeah,
knows
okay, we're
this. Well, there's an amazing like 4 or 5 pictures side by side showing the progression of him through the years of doing Ancient Aliens, and he gets crazier and crazier. I love this guy.
That's funny.
I think he just totally knows he's a meme, and he's just like, I'm just gonna give you more and more content to go.
The Diablo 3 servers weren't online, and aliens.
Aliens. I'm not
Aliens.
gonna say it's aliens, but it's aliens. All right, go over to netflix.com/Gamebreaker TV. Sign up to today. It's 30 days absolutely free. If you don't like it, you don't have to keep a subscription. It's like $7.99 a month for the streaming service. It's kick-ass. On your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, your Xbox, your PS3, wherever you want to watch it, you can watch it. On the beach, on a boat. Diamonds. All right. Let's talk about next up MMO Reviews, which is a site got to speak with lead game designer Eric Flanham. We checked out the interview. We pulled a couple quotes that we thought were really interesting. First up, Eric said, one of the coolest things that we've added to WVW recently is a persistent mini dungeon that can be accessed through the 3 keeps in the center map. This area is designed with What do you guys think? Well, what?
Nothing?
What?
Nothing?
No.
No idea what they're doing.
I have the power to just give you uncomfortable camera pauses.
I may or may not have been lip syncing what you were reading.
I may or may not have been giggling at his lip syncing.
Sorry.
I may have been chuckling to giggling at lip sync.
This area is designed with multiplayer PvP in mind, and players can do things like activate the traps in the mini dungeon to defeat enemy players. Of course, at the end of the area, there's a chest full of rewards. How awesome. We never heard anything like this, did we? I mean, this sounds awesome. This has not been in previous betas. Have we ever heard of anything like this at all?
No, this is new.
This is
Yeah, it's new
totally
stuff.
new. So inside of a dungeon, PvP on both sides, meeting up at some point. I love this idea. This goes back to who kind of did this in the beginning? I mean, I think Dark Age did this, right? Dark Age did this where they put it might be a little different, obviously, but they had these dungeons where they put some really valuable resources and things in, and they'd allow both sides come from different places to go and fight for them and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This sounds awesome. Like WVW just keeps getting better and better.
It's competitive rating.
And Athene
That's awesome.
Athene is making that a new sport. I don't know if you've heard. Have you seen this? No, I'm being serious. You know what I'm talking about? He's actually he's been taking PvE raids, and they've been trying to turn it into an esport where they kind of do speed runs and things like that of dungeons.
Nice.
So
Nice.
You can turn anything into an esport these days.
Yeah, no, it just sounds awesome. I think the more interesting things they keep putting in world versus world, the better it's going to be. I mean, just think about it. If a server's trying to lock down the entire all the maps, and other people can kind of make dents in it by stopping supply lines, doing dynamic events to get different NPC factions on their side, doing the orbs of power, taking those things and putting it on the altar, and now you've got this competitive raid dungeon, or this competitive dungeon in the middle of the thing, where all these different ways of getting at your enemy, or it's going to be impossible to cover everything, and it's kind of neat that different groups of people are going to be able to do different things in it, and it's already world versus world's already kind of like the has PvE elements in it. Dynamic events and different things you could do, and this is just another way that they're just making it incredible.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
the other
I was
thing.
gonna say
Go ahead.
a really nice kind of bridge for the gap between PvE and PvP, and hopefully getting people who are more maybe raid-centric or PvE-centric to kind of nudge over and try a new playstyle. So that's awesome.
And that's the thing, like, we don't have a lot of details. This is just brand new information, but I mean, they're calling it a dungeon, which would make me think that we're actually going to see mobs and bosses in there as well, not just like an open play area where we're just going to be dub-v-dub.
Right.
Well, we know it said we're going to have a nice big treasure chest at the end of it. So
Yes.
the idea of racing for that sort of objective, setting traps up to mess up the opposition, so you get there first. Love that. That's great, because that's sort of like old school raiding, where you know on the chase to I'm going to be old and boring again. EverQuest, when like these are like open, like these are world bosses in dungeons that everybody can get to. So it's whoever got to them first. Yeah. And that was, it's great stuff. So the idea of that, plus you can set stuff up to mess up the opposition, like literally using game mechanics. I can't wait to get stuck into.
Yeah, that's
wonderful.
That's going to be amazing. It's kind of like, oh, they got there first, they're working on the boss. All right, hit them with spike traps or fireballs or whatever. Yay, they wiped our turn. It's going to be great.
But what do you guys think? I mean, what do you think the rewards have to be to make this really cool, though? That, like in Dark Age, I think, if I remember right, it was like, Chad will tell me, but it was mainly, I think, resources that were really valuable for things like crafting and stuff like that, where they were like impossible to get anywhere else. Like you couldn't get them. So, like, do you think they're going to go for something like that, where they would put, like, very specific loot that's only attainable through these dungeons? Or do you think it's just going to be more like... Personally, I would like to see that, rather than just, oh, it's a chest and everybody gets some loot, which is kind of the way Guild Wars seems to be kind of going out, that everybody wins something.
That incentivization to hold those keeps, you mean, basically saying...
Right.
Yeah, so you get an advantage in holding them, and like you can make. But again, the reason to have those sort of resources is to make better gear than everybody else, and that's not really the setup for Guild Wars 2. I mean, you can already get. I mean, in WVW, you can already get like a lot of rich veins and stuff for trade skills out in the world around in WVW. So those sort of like those like easier to find, higher end sort of resources are there already. So. I can understand why that would be cool, but I don't think that the sort of systems in gear exist to make that viable as a direct resource to make stuff way.
A lot of what's been shown as rewards so far for World versus World seem to be kind of server wide. So like you have worldwide bonuses and you have, your entire world benefits from doing well. So it might be that the chests are like really cool PvP World versus World only gear that like has, equitable stats with stuff, but has its own unique look. That would be something that would be very cool to see as kind of a individual contribution reward that's very special. And you can say, yeah, I got that from doing that one keep in the center of the island or whatever. And
it's got to be cosmetic.
Sorry.
Yeah,
but
it's...
For guilds, maybe you could have like bonuses, big renown bonuses for getting in there or something for your guilds. So to make that sort of like guild sort of level competitive, getting in there and organize that sort of organization, like that raid organization that we've talked about, whether that exists in there, that'd be a way to do it. Is if you could get like guild renown, you'd have guilds fighting to get in there and setting up that sort of combat between them. That could work really well. I'd love to see some of that.
Well, that's the thing. I'd like to see something that's a little bit, obviously being a persistent area, that you'd want to see something that's a little bit more of a long-term play and a reason to kind of hold this, not something that's just like, oh, we ran the dungeon, everybody got geared up, we're done. Or we have 10 people in our guild, let's run it 10 times, we run it 10 times, we got the gear, we're done. Like I don't see that working as a long-term play. They've got to do something that's kind of like a little bit more just almost group orientated and with a longer-term goal of working together and a reason to hold.
I hope it's kind of like the orbs of power and stuff like that, that you get some sort of bonus for your server during that world versus world match that is, significant enough that you want to do it and you want to hold it, but, also something that affects the outcome of that particular battle, because then you'll have people fighting over it all the time. Like I was saying before, you might have one server that's holding everything, but hey, maybe if we take out that dungeon, we can get that boss down, get the treasure or whatever, then our server is going to get a boost and we'll be able to take back some things or something like that. I think that would be a great idea, and I also like what Elizabeth was suggesting, in that the people that actually do take that out actually get some sort of cosmetic way to distinguish themselves.
Wonder where this came out of. Like, it's be so new. It's like I feel like we're like already like hitting what a couple beta events in. WW seem enormous as it is the way they are, and then all of a sudden they add this. It's kind of like out of left field. Boom! Now we've got dungeons into your WWs.
Well, if you look at the stuff that's already in there, I mean, there's things that people don't. People look at WVW and go, well, it's keeps towers. You take those and it's points. That's it. There's other little flavour things there, like the Temple of Storms in the middle of You can go take a storm, and it's not in the game at the moment. Well, it wasn't in the last beta weekend. It would be great if it's in the next one. But if you take over the Temple of Storms in the middle of the lake and then do some quests to power it up, you can generate storms that go overhead and damage the opposition. And, just lovely little flavour things like that. There's hidden things in various parts of WVW. There are PvE oriented to go and do. So that sort of thing's kind of already there, but we didn't expect this sort of scale. And the fact that they've already talked about there's going to be more added to WVW after. It's really exciting. So you've already got lots of flavour, interesting little things to go and do beyond WVW, which you can lose your mind in forever. And then you can go and do all this other stuff. Oh, and by the way, we're going to throw some more stuff in soon. It's the levels it's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like a really cool way to just add another element to PvP. Sorry, the walls are falling down. But yeah, just kind of adding an indoor element, an indoor environment, dungeon-esque feel to something that we have kind of come to know is going to be much more of an outdoor PvP experience is going to be really interesting as well. Like, how they design that almost map is almost like a mini map within the map. I heard you like maps. We put some maps inside of your maps.
It's Mapception.
Mapception, yeah.
It is Mapception. Viewers, what do you guys think? What do you think of this whole WDubs putting in sort of dungeons, both PvP / we can only assume that there's going to be PvE content in there as well. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. People are hurting themselves, I think. It's a rough day here in the studio.
Careful, chef.
Don't forget about beta keys. Going to be giving away beta keys. Hang on to the end of the show and I'll tell you how to enter and get a beta key. If you have already not got one, we've got 20, count them, 20 keys to give away right here on the GuildCast. Tell you how you're going to get them. So next up, Eric had this to say. He said, we fully plan to support tournaments in competitive PvP. We will have a variety of tournament types, from automated tournaments to more competitive scheduled tournaments. We are still talking about whether or not we want to support any type of WW tournaments after launch. If player interest is high, then I think it's definitely something we'd consider.
That'd be mental.
Yep.
Just absolute WVW tour. My
2
God.
weeks for a single bout.
I mean, tournaments, basically, it's a great way to organize PvP, right? Take groups of players, put them against other groups of players. This is brilliant.
Be like a 2-month-long tournament. That'd be awesome. And that's only if it's a very short stack.
Well, what if they like just took like two like equal teams, put them on like one of the 4 maps, and said, you have 3 hours, go, and people develop different strategies and see who can get more points in 3 hours. I think that kind of stuff would be really interesting.
That's what I was thinking.
That'd be nuts.
Again, that's the guild style sort of competitiveness.
Yeah.
focusing on that would be possible again with that.
I mean,
And again,
It's kind of like a real-time strategy game then, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, this is something that like kind of ArenaNet really needs, almost in a sense, if they want to try and have Guild Wars 2 go down the total esports route, right? Just another extension.
Well, I don't know if they need world versus world tournaments in order to do that. I mean, the tournaments with the structured PvP, it sounds like they already have all those mechanisms in place. They're going to be holding. I mean, you can queue up with 5 people to do a tournament, and that's kind of like a pickup one. And when you have, I think it's 8 teams of 5. It has 3 rounds of elimination, and if you're like the winner of that, you actually get some qualifying points. And then every month or so, they're going to have these monthly tournaments, and then there's going to have tournaments at the end of the year. So all of this, as soon as they get a spectator mode in, all of this is really set up for esports. But the world versus world, it's just wow. It seems like they've been planning for it already. They have a way to do it. That's going to be really interesting.
Spectator mode. Spectator.
Yeah, how do you do meaningful spectator mode of world versus world? Yeah, like just.
I don't know.
Like free fly camera.
Yeah, or
free fly, click around.
yeah, you would absolutely have
3,000 cameras.
You would absolutely have to do like what League does. You'd have to have a directed camera and just have it like that'd be the best because the map is so damn big. I don't know how you could do it, but get on it. We need it. All right, next up, he said we plan to ship with 4 maps for competitive PvP. We've shown 2 maps at this time and are very close to completing work on the remaining 2. So I think we've all heard about them having 4 PvP maps, right? That's not anything new.
Right.
Correct.
But it's definitely good news. I mean, shipping with 2 maps in 2012 just doesn't really cut it, does it? I don't think it
I want to get hold of Pirates, the one with pirates in the boat.
Pirates.
Yes, the underwater structure PvP and over the boat and pirates and all.
Very excited to see that.
Yes, those are going to be extremely interesting.
Isn't the 4th one supposed to take place on the Dragon brand? I believe. I think I saw that. It's where like one of the Elder Dragons have turned this whole, place.
I believe we heard that previously, but we've also heard recently that there's supposed to be one that has an underwater mechanic and one that has a nostalgic element. So unless the Dragon brand is considered nostalgic, that might have changed.
All right.
It's a very old Dragon brand.
It's the Dragon brand's uncle.
So next up, he said this, and this is kind of people are talking about this a lot. They said all of our maps involve capture points and winning by achieving a higher score than the opposing team. Secondary scoring mechanics often involve other factors such as killing NPCs. We plan to release more maps after we ship, and it is possible that those maps will contain new primary mechanics, but of course we won't know until we've had time to design them post-launch. So this is something I think a lot of people kind of wonder about. Like, how do you feel about all 4 maps having the exact same core mechanic? That's not something I expected. I definitely expected with 4 maps that they'd have some different play styles.
Yeah.
Well, technically, they have different play styles because the secondary mechanics do very much augment what you're paying attention to. Because, I mean, especially in the forest map, killing those bosses can really kind of sway the odds in your favor for a good 30 seconds, which is all you really need to make.
I'll agree with you there that they have secondary, but I mean, where's the obvious capture the flag? You would think at 4 maps, we're going to do this and a capture the flag, at least one.
Yeah, absolutely, and go for it.
I'm sorry. Even with the 2 that we've played, Kylo and Fields of the Nephilim, there's certainly variety. The 2 different. They certainly feel different when you're playing them. So, however, across 4 maps, but I mean, you got 2 that feel different as it is. Then you're going to have one that's underwater, and then we've got one we're not sure about yet, which whether it's going to be able to make them all feel completely different. Of course, we've got to play them all to death before we find that out. But yeah, I am surprised there isn't like a capture the flag or something along those lines for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I would expect that.
I think it's
still possible. You could have a capture the flag within the 4th one still, and have a point control part of it as well. You could have both, so it's feasible. We could still have a capture the flag, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that some people are going to miss, having a capture the flag or maybe a murder ball or something like that. There are advantages to keeping it all the same. It's going to be easier for players to kind of learn it and get into it because it's all the same kind of primary objective. You'll have it easier to follow from an esport perspective, for the same reasons, and you also have the developers. Will be able to kind of balance things and see and pinpoint issues with certain professions a little bit easier, because this was one of the things in Star Wars: The Old Republic is you had 3 really kind of cool war zones, but they were played very differently, and some classes and specs performed really well in Huttball, but then really weren't that great in Void Star, and so it's kind of gets to be a nightmare. It's like, well, what do we do? Do we buff this? Do we do this? So having it all the same right from the get-go does have some advantages, but I do think a lot of players will miss some of the more common play styles like capture the flag.
The one thing I could not stop thinking about though with this, and talking about how dependent on the map it is playing a lot of League of Legends. Like every time I play that game, it's amazing to me that you can play one map over and over and over and over and over for years and it not get boring. So it shows how how well they could make these 4 maps that they don't actually just feel like reskins of each other, but somehow they're actually really diverse, and hopefully the secondary mechanics and things like that make that happen. But it is possible to keep players completely hooked and into a game just based on one map.
Sure.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it shows you how we keep talking about esports and that they're keen on esports. As Richie said, having those 4 maps with those basic ones tells you that it looks like they're really looking to ramp it up because they are using that for balance. That makes perfect sense. They're using that so they can use that real competitive PvP, that's what they're balancing from in PvP. So that's been stated. It's not WVW. WVW, you run through, go crazy, have a romp, enjoy yourself. Structured PvP is where the real fine-tuning balance is going on. And having those 4 maps based on those similar mechanics has got to be because of wanting to make sure that balance is kept. And if so, that shows you the kind of strength they're looking to have for esports. And not too far off, not too long after either. If that's the reason behind it.
All right, let's do some viewer questions. This one first up from Loke van Denberg. He says, do enemy firewalls give you fire arrows? So obviously he's referring to the cross profession combos here, when you can. What's the effect where you can kind of make a wall of fire and then you shoot arrows through the fire and then they become flaming arrows. Do we know if enemy firewalls give you fire arrows? I don't.
Yes, we know they don't.
We know that they do not, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Super realistic and not happening.
Yeah, I was going to say the only way that could be okay is if then friendly firewalls also burn you. So, that would be kind of sucky for a lot of people. Like, some people would love that. They'd be like, heck yeah, friendly fire, let's do it. And a lot of people would be extraordinarily upset.
That would be the worst.
It would be hilarious, though. The opposition puts a firewall down and goes, ha-ha, you go, right, bang, shoot him in the face with his own fire. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It would make balance a bit difficult, so no.
Yeah, I'd be petrified to play as an elementalist. I'd be stepping in my own fire fields all the time.
All right, next up, this one from Bear Powell. Bear says, any word on account security enhancements for Guild Wars 2 over Guild Wars 1? Example, authenticators, multiple passwords, etc. Have we heard anything about this? Did the Collector's Edition have an authenticator? I don't remember.
It did not. No, they haven't revealed any of the security kind of plan yet. I hope they come up with some sort of authenticator, even if it's just one for your mobile device or something. But I'm pretty sure we'll hear something as we get a little bit closer, but nothing that I've seen so far.
Nothing
yet. We
yet.
can have a mobile app, aren't we? So you would think.
I would think they're going to launch with some form of security. There's no way, especially all the recent Diablo 3 hacks going on and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll hear something more soon, but does anybody use these? Yeah. Many people use the little keychain ones anymore. I don't know. Most people. You do?
Yep.
Oh, look at you, goody two-shoes.
Huh. I can't just lose it.
All right, next one up. This one's from Nicolas Wajon. He says, I came from MMOs like RuneScape, and I haven't had much experience with ones like Guild Wars. How much of a shock am I in when I play Guild Wars? Will I find it easy to learn how the mechanics work and be able to enjoy the game right from the word go? I mean, I'm going to say absolutely just coming from RuneScape means that you do have a decent amount of experience somewhat. I mean, I think it's close enough. It's not like, you're
Sure.
coming from like Farmville, where I'd say like, well, the learning curve is a little bit steep, but there's a lot to learn. But I mean, I think absolutely. I think from second one, you're going to be able to play and totally get it and grasp it and enjoy it and just kind of learn as you go along, right?
Yeah.
Just being in the world's going to be entertaining enough for you, straight up. Just that moving around, exploring, seeing everything going on, how fantastic everything, just like absolutely engrossing the world is, without even hitting a button. It is enough to keep you wanting to play and learn everything else. And if you've played just even something like RuneScape, you're used to like sort of like pain management and inventory management and all that sort of thing. So you've got a step in there as well. So, and as we've talked before, there's tons of stuff in there that's easy to pick up, difficult to master. So you'll be able to run around and hit your buttons like crazy and feel like you're doing something at early levels. People who complain, oh, if it's too easily to spam. At early levels it is. You're going to get your head caved in later on if you keep doing that, if you don't learn how to really use your abilities properly. But right off the bat, I think you'll be able to go run around. Everything's going to be crazy. It's going to take some patience and some willingness to learn. But if you have that, there's just so much to go and do. You can just get lost in it for days without even realizing you've.
The best key,
playing.
the best solution to this is maybe you win one of our beta keys and you hook up with Scott Hawks here and you play with him in the beta weekend and he'll teach you how to play.
I'll teach you how to get set on fire. If you know how to get set on fire, follow me.
If you played RuneScape though, you've had like like you said, I think you have such a leg up. I've told this before, and I said like I had a buddy who I taught how to play Rift, and I was the first MMO he's ever touched in his life, and never played one, and it was unbelievable the amount of things that I had not realized how difficult these games are to grasp when you've never played one. Once you played one, you're like, oh, I get this. Like I get these things. So if you played RuneScape, you've got a huge leg up than if you've never played it. So
and it's actually a good topic because if you go, here's a plug. If you go over to the Guild Wars 2 page on Gamebreaker, one of our guys, Austin Regibald, who is a complete MMO phobic, like he doesn't touch MMOs. He's completely he likes his Xbox games. He's Batman Arkham City and all the rest of that. But there's things about Guild Wars 2 that intrigues him, and he's written about it. So go in, have a read of that, and I think that'll give you a nice way of looking at Guild Wars 2 from that perspective as someone who isn't really into the whole MMO genre.
He's not
already.
versed at all in MMOs.
Yeah, he's not at all. He really isn't. There's, like some people have, have said this and that, but Austin really didn't know very much about MMOs at all. But just some of the things, the way Guild Wars 2 has presented itself, appeals to him even as a non-MMO person.
All right, last up this week, this one in from Amanda Rush. Amanda says, I've heard a lot of people say that the learning curve on Guild Wars 2 is a little steep since it's so different from other MMOs. Do you think, or have they said they will be adding a tutorial aspect, as they did in the original Guild Wars, that teaches the basic mechanics and offers gameplay tips? I don't know about you guys. I mean, I felt like the beginning of the game is just that. It just gets you in there. I hope there's no tutorial area. Please don't put it in there.
No, we've talked about this before, and I don't think they should put in a huge tutorial area, but I do think that there are certain mechanics that they will actually be adding a little bit more of explaining why they put something in, or at least how some basic functionality works. With that said, I don't think they overwhelm you at the start. I think you get your one button, and they ease you into the game, and I don't think that there's a huge learning curve. It is something that's kind of easy to pick up and very, very difficult to master. But I have gone on record saying I think they do need a little bit more explaining of some basic functionality and how to, like Gary's issue, how do you get out of World versus World?
Yeah, that was
little things like that.
Right.
But that's like I feel like that's like a little bit more prevalent tooltip /
Yes.
like
Yes.
have an
That's what
NPC
they
talk
need.
to me or something and maybe tell me, but I don't need like a full-on tutorial. Like I don't need really be handheld. Yeah,
Totally agree.
But they just need to kind of point out a few things like that for sure. Anything else that stuck out? Did anything else stick out to you guys that is kind of buried? I always bring up the PvP one because I spent like 45 minutes trying to figure out how to get out of World versus World.
The Again, I think his tooltips need some work. There's certain aspects like that. Like when it says where you can right click and put all of your sort of trade skill resources and instantly it goes into your bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like most people didn't even know that.
Would not have known about that. Yeah.
Explain stuff like that.
And so they need tool tipping. Work on that. I'm going to be back and forward on this because I'm one of these. I want to get lost in the game and find my way out, and then that's how I learn. That's how I love to learn anything. I'll get lost, figure my way out, and then I know it. And that's the way I like to play.
Isn't that more rewarding to some extent? As long as it doesn't.
I think it is.
As long as it doesn't spill over into like mass frustration.
Exactly, and that's where I think some tooltips are needed for people who might.
Yeah, not everybody enjoy that.
There's a lot in the game that I think people played, and again, it's down to expectations from other MMOs. There's stuff going on there that didn't even realize existed, and then came out of it, and I didn't know that, and So I think tooltips, yes. Tutorials, no. I don't want to be dragged through stuff.
Yeah.
I want, and the rest of the world's so natural. In many ways, the rest of the world is designed that you learn from looking around you, what's going on. I don't want something that sort of breaks off from that first.
Yeah, we need greater learning opportunities for newbies. But if you had something like the Noob Island or, God forbid, pre-searing again in Guild Wars 2, like you would just be forcing people to go through stuff that they didn't want to. Like other people are like, no, I'm ready to like get out there and do the real stuff. So I think they need to have options for learning more if people are feeling a little lost and floundering.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the way that sticks out to me, and I'm going to bring it up again, is Star Wars: The Old Republic. They actually have that codex, and it gives you a lot of background about different NPCs and places and stuff, but it also does gameplay stuff. So it's like, a companion, you'll get your first companion or something, and you just get it. But if you actually click into the codex and read about it, it actually goes through, all right, this is how they work, and this is what they do, and it's completely optional. It doesn't bombard you in the face. I just think some things like that, just things you can click on when you have some time, if you really want to learn more about that topic, would be great. Non-invasive, and it would help people that want it.
All right, it's time to tell some people how to get some beta keys. If you did not get a beta key for Guild Wars 2, we got 20 of them. We're going to give some away, and it's really simple. All you got to do, leave a comment on this episode. That's it. Obviously, if you're watching this live right now, you have to wait till tomorrow. Done, said it, okay? Mass confusion will be in the chat room right now, so I have to say that. And that won't matter tomorrow, but I have to say that. But so, as soon as this thing is up on the website, this episode, leave a comment. You're automatically entered at random. We will. We have 20 beta keys to give away at randomly. Or actually, make sure that you're signed up to comment on the site with a real email address, because that's how we will contact you. So don't use a fake email address. Leave a comment, whatever you want, on this episode, and randomly, we'll use the old random.org, and we'll pick 20 people and send you an email with your beta key if you haven't already got one. That's all you got to do. Leave a comment on Gamebreaker.tv on this episode. Richie Procopio,
yep.
Massively.com. Follow him at Richie Procopio on the Twitter. What else going on your YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel called Bog Otter.
Bog Otter.
Check out my videos.
Obviously not affiliated with Curse.
Nope.
Good for you. I'm glad to see you're still up and running. Good for you. Don't sell out, bro. Stay strong.
For now.
Keep the faith.
Keep the faith. Elixabeth Claire, follow her on the Twitter at Elixabeth Claire with an X. And of course, go over to, what do you got on Master this week?
Today we took a look at the World versus World and kind of a primer for people who are a little scared about getting into it. Hoping to follow that up next week with some structured PvP, but I'm hoping that something amazing happens in the meantime that I can write about.
I'm sure something amazing will happen, for sure. Scott Hawks. Follow him on the Twitter at Jarimor, Jarimor. Come over to Gamebreaker.tv. Check out that article he's talking about that Austin wrote. It's an awesome one.
Definitely.
You can watch all his... You got more Guardians Tale videos coming? Maybe?
No.
No?
I'm taking a break. No, I'm going to do some more eventually, but not right now. I've got a trade skill one. I've got extended WVW looking at some of those, the map that shows you all the little hidden stuff like the Templar Storms, things like that, and some shenanigans with an Elementalist.
All right, follow
See, I do
these.
play something else.
He's got lots. And you can follow me on Twitter at Gary Gannon, and of course you can follow the Gamebreaker site at Gamebreaker TV. Come over to Gamebreaker.tv. And we also, if you guys are League of Legends players, we are giving away Riot Points every single Friday. Man, we're just loaded with giveaways now. Multiple layers of giveaways. If you want to win Riot Points, every Friday we're giving away Riot Points. Just come over to facebook.com/GamebreakerTV. Little box right there that says win LOL points. Click on that, it'll take you right there. You can sign up. It's super easy to sign up, and every Friday we're gonna give some away. All right. Actually, next Tuesday's up in the air. We'll talk about it off air, but I don't know when. I think next week's episode's gonna be delayed. So E3 is coming. Guys, have a great week, and we'll see you at some point next week.
Cheers, chat.
Bye.
Take care.